I've got 5:29 p.m. on January 30th here. We're in council chambers at Bloomington City Hall for the regularly scheduled Board of Public Works meeting that will start in just a moment. We've got several folks that are online for the meeting. Seems like our audio is working, which is a good thing. If you do have public comment and you are online, we'll allow for public comment on each of the items on the agenda, and then under the petitions and remonstrances. If you are online and want to offer that public comment, we'll just call you and unmute you, or you can do that via the chat function with Zoom. Beyond that, want to just start, I'll start just by welcoming James Roach, our new Board of Public Works member. So thank you, James, for your service to the Board of Public Works in the city of Bloomington. That rounds out our board of 3, so we appreciate your service. And otherwise, I will turn it over to Kyla Cox-Deckard, Board President.
Thank you. I did just want to confirm on technology, I don't see our captions, so just wanted to make sure that that's functioning. At least I don't see them on our screen. That doesn't necessarily mean they're not available.
All right, we'll get those up and running.
Do you know what captions are?
Captions. Show captions. Perfect.
Now I got to enable it for this room. Test 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
All right,
All right.
great.
Thank you.
Good catch.
Thank you.
I think I would have been able to figure that out eventually without Kelly, but thank you, Kelly. All right, back to Kyla.
All right. I call to order this regular meeting of the Board of Public Works this Tuesday, January 30th of 2024. First up on our agenda this evening is the election of officers. Just so the public knows, we have 3 officers on the Board of Public Works: President, Vice President, and Secretary.
I move that we appoint Kyla Cox-Deckard as president, myself as vice president, and James Roach as secretary.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Just to check if anybody has any public comment on this item.
Oh, good.
We welcome it.
Does anybody have public comment on the Zoom? I don't see any raised hands.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Carone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard? Aye. Motion passes. Next up, messages from board members. Do we have any messages from the board this evening?
I have none.
I would just welcome James here. We're delighted to serve with you. Thanks for joining us.
Happy to be here. No additional comments.
Thanks. Next up is petitions and remonstrances. If anyone would like to make a public comment about something that is not on our agenda this evening, now is the opportunity to do so. If you're on Zoom and would like to make a public comment, you're welcome to use the chat function or the raised hand function to indicate that. All right, seeing none. Next up is Title VI abatement, a request for abatement at 304 North Hopewell Street.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Davis. I work for the hand department. I'm a neighborhood compliance officer, and I am requesting a continuous abatement at the property 304 North Hopewell Street. I began issuing notices of violation in August, all the way through to January of this year. That would have been August of 2023. So there were a series of 4 notices of violation, the last one being the one that indicated that I would be coming here to request an abatement.
Thank you. Questions on this item?
I just want to confirm something we discussed at the work session yesterday. There has been a continuous abatement on this property before that expired in November 2023, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And what has been the communication with the property owner since that continuous abatement expired?
No direct communication that I'm aware of with the property owner since the expiration of the last continuous abatement.
Okay, thank you.
And is the property owner present on either Zoom or the room? If
last
the
name
property
would be
owner
Rob.
is... Okay, all right. Are there any public comments on this item? All right. Is there a motion on this item?
I move that we approve the request for abatement at 304 North Hopewell Street.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Corone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next up is the consent agenda. First on the consent agenda is Cummins, Inc., 2024 Service Agreement, Evans Time 2024 Service Agreement, Parker Technology 2024 Service Agreement, contract with CE Solutions for on-call services at garages, and approval of payroll. Are there any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda this evening? Is there any public comment on the consent agenda or any of the items within it? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion on the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda for tonight's meeting of January 30th, 2024.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Corone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next up, we have new business. First under new business is public improvements bond for Beacon at 1201 West 3rd Street, a Weddell Park plat.
I'm Maria McCormick from Engineering. This is a request for approval of the public improvements bond for the Weddell Park Lot 1, which is Beacon. It's their new campus on West 3rd Street. This is for the sidewalks and street trees, curbs and gutters that come in, that are required as part of the UDO and the subdivision requirements.
Thank you. Questions on this item? Are there any public comments on this item? Okay, thank you. Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the public improvements bond for Beacon at 1201 West 3rd Street, the Weddell Park plat.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Corone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next up is Resolution 2024-06, right-of-way encroachment request from Bloomington at 405 East 4th Street.
This is a request for an encroachment into the right-of-way for a wooden stair, or for wooden stairs and a wooden ADA access ramp. This is needed. There currently is an enclosed porch structure that encroaches into the right-of-way. They are removing that structure and replacing it with the ADA ramp and stairs that are required for access for this building.
Thank you. Questions on this item? Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve Resolution 2024-06, the right-of-way encroachment request from Bloomington at 405 East 4th Street.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Corone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next up is Resolution 2024-07, right-of-way encroachment request from Relato Apartments at 2851 East Longview Avenue.
This is another encroachment into the right-of-way. This is the second encroachment agreement for this property to capture a couple of items that were not captured in their first agreement. One is fencing that was required as part of the UDO around AT&T equipment, and then the other item was a concrete pad that was required by Duke Energy for access to the transformers.
Any questions on this item?
There was an updated resolution, I think, sent to the board late this afternoon. I just want to make sure that
It was typos.
it was typos.
It was,
Okay.
and we didn't have the name correct for the company that owns.
That's
We
great.
just had Skinnell Properties, and it's an LLC of some
Sure.
derivative of that.
I just want to make sure staff was happy
Yes.
enough with the changes.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
yes.
And I did want to confirm, because as I was reading it off of the agenda, that is the proper wording for the encroachment agreement, that's with Relato and not with...
Right, it's with the company name that is on the encroachment agreement. That is the actual property owner.
So that would be Bloomington SPCW JV LLC?
Yes.
So that should be what we're authorizing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they're the actual business owner or property owner, and that's who we do the encroachments with.
Okay. Are there any public comments on this item? Okay. Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve Resolution 2024-07, the right-of-way encroachment request from Bloomington SPCW JV LLC at 2851 East Longview Avenue.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Crone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard? Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next up, we have lane, sidewalk, and bike lane closure request from Goodman Construction, Inc. at 2038 North Walnut Street.
Ooh, that one I guess works too. I am Alex Gray with engineering, and this one is Goodman Construction. They are doing work for the hub, which is the property that is directly north of the Verve property that was finished roughly last year. And so they're going to, they're requesting to do the eastern lane of North Walnut, the bike lane there, and the sidewalk in kind of a phase section. So it shows as a full, but they're actually planning on going from the south north. So they actually, as they go north, they should be able to open up the sidewalk again as they go through. But the reason why they have to do this is for water rerouting and just kind of the connections for the hub development. And they have been working with the Hampton Inn. They have an agreement and to how they do their driveway, and they're going to set up a detour when they get to that section.
All right, questions on this item?
We had several questions yesterday about the map that they included. So Hampton Inn has given approval for use of their driveway, which means on the map we have that yellow work area that goes up and through that Hampton Inn Drive. People will be able to cross at that crosswalk, and cars can enter into the Hampton Inn.
I believe that's how it's supposed to work,
Drive.
yes. Like, because they're going to be, the way that it was drawn, I guess, is to encompass the whole area, but they're not going to have the whole area open or closed at any given time. So they're going to work from the south north toward those drives. And then they also
So once we get to, sorry, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and if you could just state your name for us.
Nick Allgood with Goodman Construction.
Thanks.
So as we get to that intersection, we will coordinate with Hampton the detour while that Walnut No intersection is shut down. At that time, the sidewalk closure on the east will be opened for pedestrians to travel on the east sidewalk.
believe so, yes.
So just confirming, the crosswalks that you're using to detour pedestrian traffic would be the one near the Hampton entrance?
Yes,
And that will be the main detour point when there needs to be a pedestrian detour?
yes.
And
Until
then-
we get that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was going to say, until we get to until we get to that intersection, that north crosswalk there going east and west will be accessible for pedestrians to go to the Showers median and then down to the Verve crosswalk area.
Okay, that makes
So,
sense to me.
Adam Wason here, Public Works. So the crosswalk on the northern end of the work zone that is north of the crossover will be the main pedestrian access for this, and then it'll cross over, the pedestrians will use that, go south across the crossover at the crosswalk there, and then down further to the south, Verve has a crosswalk that's not in that original photo, that will remain open as well.
Okay,
Yes,
so those are the three main pedestrian crossing points that will be in place. We won't have pedestrians detouring up at 17th Street or
No.
No.
that area, okay. And then bike traffic, that is going to be brought into the other lanes of Walnut?
I think that's typically what we've done in other projects, so I think this is how we're going to work with this one too. I can't remember if that's how it was with the Verve. Do you remember? I think it
Yes,
was.
where the bike lane would end is, it would be expected that they would join normal traffic for that small section and then return towards the bike lane on the northern end.
It's
The other part
largely going to
that's
be the
good
same.
Sorry, the other part that's good with bicycle traffic there is it is a side path along Miller Showers, so bikes can use that internal path as well.
Yeah, that is good, okay. Any other questions? All right. Any public comments on this item?
No, I'm Zoom.
Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the lane, sidewalk, and bike lane closure request from Goodman Construction, Inc. at 2038 North Walnut Street.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Corone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next up is lane and sidewalk closure request from AEG.
Oh, that is actually being pulled from the agenda for this evening. I
Oh.
apologize.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay. Next up is lane, sidewalk, alley, and road closure requests from Milestone Contractors for the Clear Creek Tunnel Project.
Hi, Kyle Ball from Engineering. Milestone Contractors are requesting the aforementioned closures in various areas through several phases of the Clear Creek culvert reconstruction, mouthful there. So they are going to start in the alleyway behind the Von Lee, just south of the IU parking lot. They're going to be moving from the west to the east, from Dunn to Indiana. In the initial phase, they're looking to close the west lane of Dunn Street, along with that sidewalk there, and also the east lane of Indiana, along with that sidewalk, while they're working in that area. And that will be the case as they're completing the phase, moving from the west to the east. They'll reopen what they can. We'll be out inspecting them to make sure that we are making sure that they're going to open those when they can. In the cases where temporary sidewalks would be appropriate, we'll make sure that they're using those. They were also planning on using the metered parking spaces on the north side of Kirkwood to accommodate all the trash removal services, the deliveries that would normally come through that alleyway that won't be available to them at that time. Moving into the fifth and final phase of that project, there will be a closure on Indiana, just to the north side of that intersection of Kirkwood, where there will be some detours going down Kirkwood down to 7th, and also on East 3rd, going all the way around to the Walnut side. And I believe we have some folks from the project itself on the line if there are any questions.
Yeah, so we've got Thomas Gott, he's the project manager for Milestone. We have Jane Fleeg, one of the engineers with CBU. I'll just make a couple quick comments here. You know, these big projects, this is, Jane, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe one of the final phases of the downtown portions of the Clear Creek stormwater culvert construction projects. It's also been, the last phase was referred to as the Hidden River Project, but so this is the culmination of, I believe now, the 5th or 6th phase of all of these projects that go all the way down to First and Walnut. So when we talk about the, Jane, correct me if I'm wrong on any of these. Yeah, thank you. So, you know, this is one of the major portions of the project that is part of the series of projects that will complete this overall stormwater project for the downtown. So when we talk about the downtown flooding instances of 2019, I think was the last big downtown flood, maybe. You know, this is all in an effort to increase that capacity throughout the downtown to get the stormwater away from the downtown and to keep Kirkwood from flooding. So, you know, long history of major infrastructure projects here. They're disruptive. They're in the heart of the downtown. I just want to commend Jane and the team with Milestone and CBU for the amount of outreach they've been doing. We know it'll have impacts, but they've done a tremendous job over the last, gosh, I can't think of the first time we met about this project downtown, but it dates back at least a year now. So we've held, Jane and the team have held several meetings with the Kirkwood Community Association as they've been planning this project, coordinating in depth, in great detail and with great payment to Indiana University for the parking lot and that. So I do want to commend them for all of those efforts. We've tried to answer any questions that have come up from property and business owners as they've come up. The one thing I can say with Milestone and the team there, we have a good, long-standing history of them doing major projects. They did the last phase of the Hidden River. They are great communicators. Tommy and his team are great communicators with the business owners, with the stakeholders. CBU will be there to back them up, and like Kyle said, we'll be down there making sure things look like they should in terms of pedestrian access and all the things from an inspection side. So that's me using a lot of words to say it's a big project. We understand it's a big project and it's going to have impacts, but we're trying to mitigate those every step of the way.
Thanks.
2 thumbs up from Jane, yay.
Yeah, that's good.
A quick question. Will at any time there be a need for a complete closure of Dunn or Indiana?
There is a planned closure on Indiana with a full detour that's been spec'd out by the engineering team. Milestone has been accommodating to the couple of suggestions that we had on that MOT plan. We don't foresee any issues. As Adam said, we're going to do the best we can to mitigate those issues, but they'll be addressed as things come up as well, because there's always things that come up that are unforeseen.
Is there a rough timeline for when that might happen?
Either Jane or Tommy might have to speak to that one. I know the start of the project is looking beginning of February, ending around mid-August, and then the engineering right-of-way team is looking at those sensitive times, move out, you know, weekends where graduation, where we'll have an influx of people from out of town that might not be familiar with those routes.
Yeah, Kyle. Yeah, I just wanted to say, it'll be the end of May. Hopefully, beginning of June is when we're going to cross Indiana. The biggest goal is trying to get across Indiana and get this all buttoned up before the college students come back.
Thanks. And if you could just state your name for our record, that'd be great.
I'm sorry, this is Thomas Scott with Milestone Contractors.
Thanks. This will also affect Bloomington Transit or campus bus stops, most likely. I would gather you all have been in coordination with transit and campus bus to make a plan for how to kind of redirect some of those stops.
This is Jane Fleeg, Utilities Engineer with the City of Bloomington Utilities. We have done early coordination with transit. We need an actual schedule. We're starting this project a little later than planned, but we do know we have to cross Indiana Avenue during the summer months. So once I've got an updated schedule, I'll reach out to transit again. We have been talking about this for several years, so they are aware that it's coming, but we don't have exact information on the actual dates at this point, other than crossing Indiana in the summer.
The big impact there is Indiana mostly.
Right.
You have some buses that come down that'll remain open. But that Indiana closure is the real big one, and it'll get all the attention it needs. But yeah, I know transit's been involved in conversations in the past as well, which the Indiana closure will be the big one.
Yeah, yeah. All right, any other questions?
Just one quick thing. We've been talking on campus a lot about the Monday of the eclipse, April 8th, and this construction obviously will be in that. So there are a lot of weekends and times during the spring. I appreciate how much you all have coordinated ahead of time to mitigate this, so thank you. We just keep hearing about this giant influx of visitors to Bloomington, so thanks.
I had $1 for every time we've said eclipse recently. I got a lot of dollars.
It's a good thing you're not paid by times of eclipse being said. All right. Yeah, I think just to echo Adam's points, we realize that this will affect some of our, what has become, summertime traditions in this particular stretch, but it is a major infrastructure project that has to be done to preserve the space that we enjoy there. So, recognizing that that is going to have those impacts temporarily for this summer, look forward to having this final phase of the project complete.
One thing I'll add to that note is there's a lot of coordination going on right now between the Economic and Sustainable Development Department staff and other downtown stakeholders, restaurants, et cetera, about what the outdoor dining situation may or may not look like going forward. We know during this project that we can't have some of the closures we've had in the past. We haven't made any decisions on any of that, but we know in the form that it occurred last summer before with the full closures, just during this part of the summer project, that's not going to be an option. So some other things, some other questions have been asked by some of the property owners. Lost sound.
The captions went off.
Just one moment. It might just be your microphone, Adam.
Oh, hey, I should turn my microphone on. Yes. Where was I? So we know that there are conversations happening right now with the Economic and Sustainable Development Department and the other downtown stakeholders, restaurants, businesses, about what could be possible in terms of this summer. We've also been working with the special event folks, so trying to coordinate those special events that utilize Kirkwood and the timing of this. Pride's not going to be in the same footprint that they probably have been over the last couple of years because of this. We're hopeful that 4th Street Arts Festival by Labor Day is not going to have any impacts, that we'll be back open by then. Grand Falloon being further down on Kirkwood so we'll be working with all those event organizers that would, Pride will be close.
Yeah, they may be fine if mid-August is the completion date,
so
then based on their past schedule.
What we recognize is there's going to be a lot of coordination that takes place there, and some things that may have happened in the past few years aren't going to look the same as they did in previous summers. But I met with Jane Cooper-Smith, and she showed me all of the detail and the work that Dee De La Rosa is doing with plotting out all of these things. Using some fancy computer program that I'd never seen. But we're putting a lot of effort into that coordination, planning, et cetera.
Any other questions or comments? Is there any public comment on this item?
If there's any members of the public on the Zoom meeting that would like to offer public comment? Okay, Mr. Hallahan mentions that he doesn't want a dumpster located in front of his business on the bicycle garage. We can make sure to work through that issue. Any other comments or questions from members of the public on Zoom? I don't see any.
All right. Seeing none, is there a motion on this item?
I move that we approve the lane, sidewalk, alley, and road closure requests from Milestone Contractors for the Clear Creek Tunnel Project.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Crone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Thanks. Next up is staff reports and other business.
No staff reports this evening.
Thanks. Next is the approval of claims. Do we have any questions on the claims? Okay. Any public comment on claims? All right. Is there a motion on the claims?
I move that we approve claims tonight in the amount of $2,817,426.57.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Crone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes.
Before you go for your adjournment, and I'll
Yes.
just give some credit where credit's due already, Tom with Milestone is already chatting with Bob at the bicycle garage via the chat function on the Zoom meeting to let them know that they'll be in touch to coordinate. So thank you, Tommy.
Thanks. All right, if there is nothing else, then I will call for adjournment.